PodCast.
Ready?
Yeah. Welcome. I'm Pete Ellis, and today I've got my second repeat guest,
Ah,
Spike Rebel.
Spike Rebel.
There
Hey!
you go.
That's a nice crowd.
So how you been, man? How you been?
Man, you out in Mokina, I'm in Chicago, so you don't have to wear this.
We
You
we
probably
do we do in the stores. We do in the stores. Like when it's one on one, you're feeling well. I'm feeling well. I hope that we're okay, but we are a little close, huh?
I saw a lady today. I do Ubering on the side, even though I'm the underground. I call myself the underground king or emperor of production because I like to work with everybody. And but a lady had on a mask and it had Mama Dia with a gun. She said, "Cough one more time." Oh, that was dope. That was dope. I wish I had that on here.
Oh, that's funny, man. So, for those who don't know, Spike Rebel is the producer of Find My Way. That's the album that I released last year.
Yeah,
Yeah, something
somewhere.
like that. So I had him on before we had the album finished. So it's been quite a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
So what's been new with you? But I mean, obviously, right now we're going through this crazy time with all of this COVID stuff. But since maybe the
Since
last
the
time I
last time we
saw you,
talked.
what's been going?
It's been interesting, man. With the everybody's trying to do streaming now, Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing a lot of things. If you don't know, the audience watching, I paint. I'm a visual artist and a songwriter, singer, and I play a lot of instruments. So the streaming thing, I've been helping some communities raise money. I'll play something on the guitar with other musicians. Uh, and Glen Ellen, I can't think of the name of the church, but they did something to get the homeless that they used to put in the church to get shelter. Now they got to pay for hotels, so they needed some more money.
Mm-hmm.
So they hired maybe 5 guitarists, keyboardists, and then I was painting on the Zoom while they're going through this 1 hour and a half show. They raised $2,400 in an hour and a half.
That's good, man. That's
And,
good.
and I didn't, when I'm looking at my phone, you can see the little squares they're showing me, but I'm painting while everybody else is playing their songs.
Mm-hmm.
And they at the end they said, "Let's see the art. Let's see some more of the art," and that raised some more money.
Nice.
Somebody said, "Hey, let's match whatever was made." So it was 1,400 made. They matched it 2,800
Nice.
to help
Nice.
the homeless. Now that's through playing the guitar and
Using the arts, you know what I
And
mean?
the
Using
art.
the arts to feed people. That's
So it's
beautiful.
confirming to me that that's a different path than trying to get sales and hits on YouTube and
Yeah.
you
yeah.
know
And it probably feels better too.
it does.
Yeah.
You're using your gifts for a cause. It's appreciated. You say, what did I get in return for doing all of that? I wasn't expecting anything. They gave me $100 gift card. Uh, they told me yesterday somebody else bought another piece, so they're giving $200 to the church, and they're gonna give me $50.
Nice.
But it was just sitting in my basement.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If I didn't do this, it would just be
Mm-hmm.
sitting at home.
Yeah, I
So
mean, you are a quick artist too. Like you can produce quality artwork surprisingly quickly. So like for you to go out and just do something on the go, like it's like something you do already anyway, right? So
exactly.
it's a beautiful thing to be able to also have that help feed people.
And it's a different mentality. Like my brother, who collects art.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many numbers of pieces printed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more of the type. If I could go outside right now in front of the street and put up some, hey, what's your name? That's
Mm-hmm.
give me what you think you.
I like that. I
That's
like that.
that's a different mentality.
Uh-huh.
You
And
know.
and I think people can appreciate something that they can take home with them that they saw drawn.
Yes. Yes.
You know?
There's something special about that.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's such like an attraction. Like things like Six Flags and those places or whatever, those like
Yeah.
attraction places to have someone there that does those type of cartoony sketches
Yeah.
even. Just because people like to see
They like to see
real
it in
artwork
action.
being done.
Have you been to New York before?
No,
Saw
I
them on
haven't.
42nd. Those guys, they just come on. They cartoon you.
Oh yeah.
Man.
No, I haven't seen that. I
Yeah.
haven't been to New York. I wish to get out there at some point.
Boy.
Yeah.
I think Chicago's big. They got some big lights when you hit 42nd Street down
Yeah.
there. It's just, pow, overkill. Overkill.
Nice.
So look, you don't have a virus, so I can take this off, right?
Yeah. No, I've been good. I've been good. I've been relatively quarantined. When I go out, I try to wear the mask and all that.
Yeah.
It's a crazy time because people, I was at Ace Hardware the other day. Everyone's masked up, and a guy comes in and they're like, "Hey, you need to put your mask on." And he's like, "Oh, well, if I get wheezy, I'm suing you guys." And it's like, come on, man. Like
Yeah.
everybody is wearing the mask. Like they're
It's
not picking on you.
it's 50-50. Like if the mask saves 1%, then it's worth wearing it, right?
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I went to a barbecue spot and the lady says, "Excuse me, sir, you have to put your mask on." So I had it in my pocket, put it on. Right? She's behind the glass.
Mm-mm.
What do you want to eat? I like to get a spicy da 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 da. She can't hear me because she's behind the glass.
And behind masks.
So, well, I'm like, this thing is just holding my beard, man. Just
Yeah. It's just a beard cover at
and
this
then
point.
one Uber rider, she got up very upset. Like, could you put this over your nose? I said, I can't. My glasses are fogging, and I had just bought these. These are hard to breathe through. These ones. I have some now with the $30 ones that the construction guys wear with the holes.
Yeah.
But I said, no, just call another Uber. Wham! She slammed the door.
Oof.
Now think about it. I'm driving in the front. She's in the back. How am I sneezing through the nose?
Yeah. I mean, you're still in a pretty confined spot, but it's like,
This is covering my mouth.
yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure with all that because I think that if you're breathing, you're still bringing air out, but at the same time, I think people are overly crazy
It's a
about
little
it too.
yeah.
I see both ends of it. It's like the same with wanting to go back to work. Like a lot of us ain't been working in 3 months. It's like we would love to go back to work, but also how many more people is that gonna kill?
And I dropped two guys off, one in Maryville, Indiana, and one in Gary with the Uber. And I was shocked because they weren't wearing these.
Mm.
So
Indiana,
so,
they're already.
so those who know Chicago, when you pass Torrance, you're virus free, right?
Well, no, you know what it is. In the city,
It's more
there's so
people.
much more people. It's just like in New York. Like I had a nurse on the podcast a couple episodes ago, and she was like, "There's 6 strands of this stuff
Six.
going around right now. Obviously,
Wow.
this is COVID-19, but there's
Wow.
like 6 different strands of." So she told me that after the podcast, and so I didn't even get that on the podcast.
Wow,
But
that's important.
it was an important fact, right? And I haven't told people. And so, not only that, but like, so I've also been hearing like there's the 2 strands, major strands that have hit. This wasn't from her, but have hit us. One comes from China directly to California, and that was like the lighter version, right? And then the other one goes through Europe, right? And it came all the way
So all these
through from Europe
derivatives.
to New York. And so when it hits New York, it's already like evolved and become stronger.
That's
and
crazy.
and that's why New York got hit harder. But also, there's so many people on top of each other.
Okay, so back to the music.
How crazy is this though, right? It's a weird time. It's like nobody knows and nobody has any idea what's going on. You know what I mean?
I will end it with this. A lot of things on the internet are saying a lot of more details about things going on, and they're not doing it on the news.
Yeah.
So it comes to this thing: who controls the news?
It's
You know,
crazy, right? Because the news is like just all of this.
it's more pushing fear
Yeah, it's just
towards
fear.
us getting the vaccine, whereas there's a whole nother issue about this 5G stuff they're putting up.
Yeah, I
around
don't know
in
about all
cities.
that, but I do know that they're not pushing like immunity.
That's what I'm saying.
What about building up your immune
That's
system?
what I'm saying. And some of the doctors are saying, why aren't they coming out? Because they're going to get fired or something.
Yeah, that should be the
you know?
main topic right now is how
Yeah.
do you stay healthy?
Thank you. So, yeah, so.
So back to the music, but it's crazy. It's a crazy time to be living because we ain't been in this thing since like 1918, the Spanish flu or something like that. It's the last time we did any sort of,
Man, I'm used to going to McDonald's to use the restroom or the
Right?
library.
yeah, just going places and be
You
able.
got to be strategic now. You can't go
Yeah.
to hospitals.
Yeah, you got to think about where you go and regular procedures. Forget about it. Like, yeah. So it's wild, man. I hope we get back to going into the normal swing of things or some kind of relevant normal.
I hear some jazz groups are streaming and people are watching them play
Mhm.
live. I guess they're 6 feet apart in their apartment.
Okay.
But it's like Bob James. He
Yeah.
has a thing, but I think they're paying. I don't know what they're paying, $5, but it's a live concert.
Like a Patreon type
Yeah,
of deal.
so-
Yeah.
So
So people
Anyway,
are still doing things, and so like you've been keeping busy during
I,
this, still
I've been
Ubering.
I had got a grant from something, and so grant and my Ubering money, I've purchased a guitar made a vintage guitar made in Japan. This thing got all kind of like most guitars have four knobs for the volume. I have four going across, two switches, so you can kick it up
Yeah,
into a,
yeah,
you
it
know,
kicks a
and then it's
different
got the
pickup
one at the
switch.
top for the other the low mid
Yeah,
treble.
yeah.
I can't remember the name of it, but I saw it on eBay. They shipped it from Japan. So I'll never have to buy another guitar. This and I was praying it was in tune and stay, so that was good. I also bought an MPC Live
Okay,
drum machine,
nice.
but now they got an MPC One.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
The X is the big one.
Yeah,
The Live is the smaller
yeah,
one,
yeah.
but they got one that's more of a sampler
Oh,
that you
okay.
could do, and that's like $600-700 without the case.
Ooh.
So that's on my to-do list.
Yeah,
There are a couple cultural instruments I've purchased. You
nice.
probably haven't seen any of them.
No,
One is
I haven't. I haven't been on social media a whole lot. I've just been grinding, man. I've just been grinding.
there's an instrument called the Vast VAST drum. It's from Germany,
Okay.
like $800, but it's like a reversed. What did the Jamaican guys play? The that's not the timpani. That's called the you know what I'm talking about. Ding,
Yeah,
ding,
yeah,
ding,
yeah.
ding.
It's like a round metal thing. It's like in Asia even.
Right,
I can't remember what it's called, but I know what
but
you're talking about.
if you could push those things that's going in the bowl up, where it's like this, and it's
It's like a bell almost. Then?
right. It's
Yeah.
like so. It's more meditational. So be is and everything you hit is pentatonic. So
Oh, I've
it's
seen those. Those are cool.
and they
Are they
have them in
like
different
cut out?
scales.
There's things
Yes.
cut out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen those.
So no matter what you play, it's
It's
kind of
always a
in
note.
tune.
Yeah, yeah. They've
And
already made the notes on them.
so
Yeah.
if you can play rhythms and hit that,
When
and
I was getting into making music, I saw those because I wanted to make something like that. But it's like you've got to know how to cut the tune
exactly,
into it.
yeah. But
So it takes a little trial and error.
so
I'm
it's
assuming.
one of the things you see on YouTube. They're sitting in a Buddhist temple
Hmm.
with the
And they're
dreads
like,
and they're playing right. But I want to put it to some hip hop tracks.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And they do the meditational thing to it too. You
yeah.
know, but anyway, so I've picked that up.
Cool. Cool.
I've been collecting a lot
How
of.
much did that cost you?
That was 800.
Woo.
I've been collecting. I was saving for it
Yeah.
though. I've been collecting some cultural flutes. My thing has always been string instruments.
Yeah.
I love
So
basses.
you can play wind instruments?
I can play them.
Yeah. You're not like proficient like guitar.
You like say play a F sharp. But even like the upright bass, I can play grooves
Okay.
and I do know the notes. But
So
I'm
then
not
when
gonna
you're
sit
making music, you pretty much would start off with that since you're not as fluent with that, and then you'd move to like the guitar to fill it out, probably, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't been recording much with the flute instruments, but I've been collecting them. You know what's great? Because if you ever go to a school and you want to do music appreciation, whether they paying you or you doing it for a holiday or something, Black History or something, most of the young ones have never seen none of these instruments.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So when you bring your kit in with all of these things, the little,
They can't wait
they're like,
to mess around. Yeah, yeah.
they're just ready to touch them and they're
Yeah.
dancing. You can
Yeah.
just say, grab them and play.
Yeah.
They just going crazy.
Yeah,
Now when you hit about sixth grade, it changes. They're not. It's not the same.
Yeah,
Same
there's
energy.
like a wonder and excitement.
But to see like kindergarten through fifth grade, if you just had tons of instruments on the ground and say no fighting, do not wipe it
Yeah.
off if you blow on the flute. They are just going to. You just be looking at the kids having fun. They're
Mhm.
straight. They're smiling. They're dancing.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see that often.
Nah, nah. I do remember having like a music class in school when I was young, and there being like a time where they had a grab of instruments, but they
We
were
never
like
had that.
like the little wooden block
The
and like yeah,
the
you know what I mean?
scraper.
Yeah, the cowbell. Like it wasn't nothing cool.
My music in grammar school, we had this guy. Mostly he was telling the bad kids to be quiet. He was but he would. I'd never forget this song. Everybody should know this. Do a deer, a female deer, Ray, a drop of golden sun. Me, my name, I call myself. Far a long way to run. Like that's slang, ain't it?
Yeah,
Far, driving far. So a needle pulling thread. What's the other? So
That's
tea,
funny.
a drink with jam and bread. something
I
like
haven't
that.
heard that in a long time. I haven't heard that in a long time because I had like choir too a couple years, and
Really?
like we did some of that. You know, we would do the warm ups, and like they became like just nonsense in your head. It was just to
And
get your
look
voice.
at the grammar school. You didn't have tenor, soprano. We just everybody
No,
sing.
that was in high school. That was in high
Oh,
school.
so you
And,
were singing in the choir?
yeah, yeah. We almost went to we. My parents like put money towards us going to Canada. We were gonna go
Yeah.
in a choir
So
thing in
he's
Canada.
Dallas, y'all. He's a tenor,
I
right?
was baritone bass.
Between.
Baritone bass, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I was more of a tenor, but like when I sang, he was like your
Yeah.
baritone bass, and so that's
Okay.
where I fit.
That's
Um, but yeah, we were gonna go to Canada, and then SARS broke out, and the trip got canceled. They didn't refund us our money. Like it was a whole ordeal. And but yeah, I was in choir. We were supposed to go see the Needle and all that stuff in Canada. Like
wow.
never got to go, so I've never been to Canada yet.
Uh huh.
But yeah, it was an interesting time because we would go to like different schools and stuff, and we would like compete or sing, or you know what I mean. Like
Okay.
it was interesting because
Well, go ahead.
before all of that, it was like I was just singing along and stuff. I had like like little bits of training here and there, but to have like an actual class you go to every day for an hour for a good year, like you learned something,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I did some recent painting for a chef. His name is Israel Yosef from Chicago. He's a chef for Macy's downtown.
you've been connected with him for a while, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he's got, but the virus thing stopped his momentum. He was about
Mm.
to have me and a few other jazz artists individually, like, do a show where you serve food,
Mhm.
healthy food, and then we perform, get interviewed, and then they bring out the big meal,
Was he
and that's it.
related to a dinner show you did before when
Uh,
because I did your social media years back for a
yeah,
little
so
while.
that
I
was
remember seeing that name.
yeah,
Yeah.
soul food something. He was trying to do soul food
Okay.
Mondays.
Yeah.
But the virus kind of cut that because now you can't have an audience.
Mhm.
We were
Mhm.
set to do that, so you just keep moving and keep
Mhm.
evolving.
Mhm.
The motorcycle guy, I know you're familiar with Terry Hardy.
Mhm.
Not to say anything negative, but if they could get the business part right, I'll be a rock guy
Mhm.
to put projects and push some of their initiatives with music,
Mhm.
with the rock funk soul.
Mhm.
Prince has touched on more like a new who's a modern Prince that represents the face of motorcycles.
Okay.
So that sounds big because motorcycles are everywhere,
Yeah.
but you gotta have the right marketing, the team,
Yeah.
and sponsors. So
It's a lot, and I feel like it's so much that like, cause he's more focused on motorcycles. It's like you have to have someone who that's what they're in, like they're solely into that. So he
yeah,
needs to have someone on his team that's what they're focused on to
so
be able to make that work. I
so
think.
with people like him, and let's just say six of these situations happen, I need a manager.
Mm.
That's what I'm realizing right now.
Mm.
It's some people say you don't need a manager till you have enough stuff you can't handle. Well,
It
if you
gets
don't
there.
have a manager, you start arguing with some of the people that are more just business.
Your manager's like, this is what it is. If you want him, like
There it is.
contact me.
Exactly.
And there's no bartering between the artists. Like, well, I guess I can do it for this. It's like, nah, like this is what he's
Exactly.
worth. You want,
Woo! Woo! That's where I'm at.
Yeah,
That's where I'm at.
yeah.
Wow.
I feel you, man.
Cause sometimes people have good intentions, but it creates tension
And it
and
bogs you down.
yeah,
It kills the motivation and like so like if you can just be cut and dry, like this is what it is, and like maybe you have a little
a little
leniency
yes.
that your manager knows to keep in mind for certain clients,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's when I leave here. This is well, I tell everybody what time it is. It's noonish here
Mm.
in Wakina, but tonight at 7 o'clock, I'm performing live a streaming thing that's tied into Columbia College. Now that college
That's
is known
cool.
for,
Yeah.
but the entities that's working with the college to get me, they want to do some things with music to educate you as a college.
Mm-hmm.
So all these cultural instruments, me playing them and all that, that's great. But
Mm-hmm.
if I had management, now watch this. If I had management, it would be, how do I get compensated for the 30 minutes that I perform? Or if
Mm-hmm.
I bring you to perform with me, is Columbia College or the entities, the sponsor, paying for your travel?
Mm-hmm.
For me getting
Mm-hmm.
all the equipment, putting it in my trunk, bringing it,
Mm-hmm.
Then the guys with me that's shooting with the cameras and video, do I get a copy? Do we get lunch?
Yeah, and like a lot of that can be in your writer and stuff like that, and you have
What
your
comes
manager.
after this is
Yeah.
done? Do I have to do 10 more shows? And all, it just and
Yeah.
so all of that. If you had a manager or management, they can kind of and then
They
say,
help
"Come on,
put that stuff
Dallas,
together.
we you know."
So you've never had a manager?
No,
No.
I in New York, maybe 8, 10 years ago, I had several managers, and this is all part of learning the lesson and growing. Each manager had a different characteristic. Some were very thorough, but didn't have the relationships.
Mm.
And then
Mm.
some had the relationships, but they were more like they just want to do something a one kind of way.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
like P. Dallas, just rap, do not make guitars.
Yeah.
P. Dallas, just rap, don't
Yeah.
start messing around with guitar picks or
Yeah.
making
What are
food.
you doing with podcasts? Like,
But they want to
stay in your
manage
lane.
you, but it
Yeah.
entails if
Yeah.
your picks go or you start a restaurant, they want a piece of that because they're saying
Ah.
they blew you up. And you're
Ah.
like, no, so you have to have something that says, you can have me as a rapper or artist, but you can't have my barbershop.
Okay.
Or you got to already say that
Yeah.
and scratch because they want to own
It's
everything.
like just like a marriage. You've got to have that prenup.
So now it makes you feel like, man, I'm looking at will I ever be like 50 Cent, Jay Z, or the big ones that have Kanye with 3 billion in shoes and Rick Ross with the wing stops and he's got all most of the smart guys buy real estate. They get that big check and they start.
Yeah.
And then that's a good way to hide your taxes too. You start buying the property stuff.
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily even hiding your taxes. You are
You're not letting
literally
the government just
investing
take
and
it.
you're doing things with that money rather than just blowing it.
Exactly.
And so there's a difference between how you use your money and as especially as like someone like us, like we're probably just buying instruments, we're
That's
doing
it.
the low end things, and it might be cool and it might be bringing us to the next plateau, but there's a whole nother level to that game.
Yeah.
When you start buying,
And investing and all that stuff. So
yeah, I would love to get started with all that, but it's like obviously right now ain't nobody got no money to do nothing. So
some people say it takes an artist 30,000 minimum to 100,000 to really get a push,
Yeah.
a real marketing push.
Yeah.
So all the artists that I work with in Chicago, whether they're poets, musicians, rappers, singers, global stuff, nobody got 30,000.
No. How many people
to
are even marketing at
100,000,
all? How
you
many
know?
people are even marketing at all except for their own social media push?
And some of the people that have talent and gifts. Now, there's a difference in talent and the gifts. I'll explain that. But the point is, they're not all 25 years old. Some people have been doing poetry all their lives. So if I bump into him and then I'm like, wow, how do you do that? Because he's been doing all his life. He talks like poetry. But the world don't know him. It's not on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram.
He's just walking through the streets
He's
of Chicago.
right, and there's some artists I meet. I met a guy who was crippled, no legs, and he plays the guitar in senior homes. He's not gonna be on Star Search. But in his little community and his family, they're like, "Oh, he's off the chain."
That's
So,
dope.
so can I put him on? It's not to get sponsors. It's like, can I show the world these people I'm meeting in my journey? So that's kind of where I'm
And that's
going.
what I like with the podcast too, because it's like I get a chance to pick your brain, see where you're at and what you're doing, and
Yeah.
I'm learning from all of that. And then
That's it.
also providing content, they're learning from it. They're seeing a little bit of the journey,
Yeah.
and it's cool.
Yeah, man.
It's a cool process, man.
So
So what about music? What do you have in the works with your own like creations
I
and
have
recordings?
there's well, you're in Mokina. There's a guy named Rick Lenore. He's a DJ slash producer. Has a corporate job, so he's cool with that. But on the side, he's always loved music, and so he has a distribution deal. He called me a week ago and said, Spike, I need 4 songs from you, 3 of whatever you want to do. That 4th one needs to be dance up tempo, so I can remix it and use my connections. He said I can get your stuff out digitally or just globally, except for vinyl. Not enough money, so that's good because he's an upfront dude. He tells me how he want to break down. Listen to what I'm saying. He wants to recoup whatever he puts into this project, and then from that point on, it's 50-50. And then after so many years, I can get the rights totally back to myself, or I can say after 3 years or so, if he likes the way he's making money with my stuff, keep doing it.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Everybody else I work with, it's not. They don't come clean like that. We'll do the music, and then it turns into. I ain't gonna say it's
Yeah.
all crap, but I'm just saying it's not. I'm
It's
getting to the point where I want just talk the business part,
mhm.
and then do it.
Yeah, well, so like it's like that with some people that I've worked with. You make music first, and then you're like, all right, well, this is cool. Let's do something with this, and then it's like they're not on that same tip,
Yeah.
and so then you just wasted all this time. You
No,
know,
there's no plan.
no plan. Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes you get lucky and it opens up, but it's more to have a. If me and you right now said we're gonna go to Africa, if we don't have a plan, dude,
We're gonna get stranded out there.
you like
Not even gonna make it. You're gonna be like, I'm in Africa, Pete Ellis, where you at? And I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
man,
I ain't never even
Jamaica.
made. I ain't even made it to the airport yet, bro. I didn't have enough money for the. I didn't plan, man.
But with a little planning, we can say we're gonna meet together at this place and we're gonna catch a ride. And
Yeah.
even if it goes off course, we still
Yeah,
going.
you have a little bit of an idea of what you want to do and
So
how you're
you know
gonna
what's
do it.
interesting? That's the same thing needs to happen when you talk about getting married.
Yeah, and people jump the gun. They're like, they just, oh, I'm in love now. We're gonna love each other. But what about when you don't? What happens then? And it happens even in marriages that love each
Yeah.
other. You're gonna go through phases where you don't like each other. You know what I mean? And maybe you work through that. Maybe you don't.
Now, will your girl support your career, or does she get the benefits of all this stuff you've been starting? She didn't invest in none of this. Now you meet a nice one, then she gets jealous of this, or is she supportive of this?
Yeah.
Y'all
So
gotta have that conversation.
yeah, exactly. You have to have that conversation, and I talked to my girl about this because like I think it's important. Like what if she came in with the money? Like you know what I mean? It's the same thing, right?
Yeah, that's a
Like
flip. Yeah.
so I'm looking at it like okay, like if we start something and we build something together, sure you should split that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like if if I make all of this and then you come in and you didn't help with none of it,
It when you get divorced, that's when it's a problem.
yeah,
Cause she's like, nope.
yeah, and
Give me.
and I mean, you talk from experience from being divorced. Like it's not a thing you want to go through. Like
Certain that's hard because some women, I'm just using women,
yeah,
are jealous of your success. Like you're going for yours.
yeah,
They'll see that. If you had an audience right now, not the one in there, they're all clapping.
yeah.
You don't know that in her mind. She said, "I didn't reach my goals."
Uh,
She would never tell you that, but
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
hurting inside. Like I didn't go for my dream,
mm-hmm.
and so everybody's happy when they're around P Dallas, and then when I'm here, I'm just cooking. I'm just doing. That's that's a tough one because it doesn't come
Yeah.
out immediately.
Yeah. That's not. I haven't thought about
You
it.
go
From
around
that.
your family. Oh, Dallas is doing this. He's doing this. He's doing that.
Yeah.
And she's sitting like, I didn't do my thing.
Uh huh. But you know what? There's a little bit of like pull yourself up by your bootstrap. Like it's your turn to do your thing. Like you can do your thing. Obviously, when you got kids and it gets convoluted
Yeah.
what kind of time you got, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
like everyone should have a little bit of time for themselves to do something that they enjoy doing. And if
Yeah.
you're not doing something during that time, if you're just sitting there watching TV,
Yeah.
if you're just thinking about what he's doing or what
Yeah.
they're doing, like you're not utilizing your own creative potential.
Yeah.
And so that's partly on them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I see it. I've had girlfriends that like, we're going down this path and I'm like, I got to do music.
Yeah.
And it doesn't fit with that path.
Yeah.
And like I'll get distracted. Like I've been a massage therapist, I've been a construction worker, I've done a bunch of different things. And when I meet somebody, I'm not necessarily going as hard in music as I should be.
Right.
And then I'll have a reset in life that's like, oh yeah, this is what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And when I go back hard into this, they're like, oh wait, that's not what I signed up for. You were doing this, and now
Yeah.
you're not doing that anymore. And I
Right.
don't know who this is.
Yeah. You know what? Another thing that I find interesting that the world, please listen, all artists. One of my marketing buddies, I was working with a rapper. I'm still working with a rapper named Hiawatha, and we finished the music. There's a fear to step into the marketing realm.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're doing it on your own through the internet and the free stuff to get exposure, that only goes so far.
Mm-hmm.
If you pay money to the certain people who have the connects, your project can go faster, quicker, and you can be. But are you ready with that? If they put you there, are you
You
ready
need to
with your?
have all your ducks in a row.
You have to have your T's crossed, meaning
Yeah.
your management team, your website.
Mhm.
I'm kind of mixed up with all of that. But my
Mhm.
point is, the rapper guy, we almost argue because he's not knowledgeable of what I'm saying. It's like I'm
Mhm.
so I'm thinking somebody like yourself or these other guys on the website, they need to have some kind of, I don't want to say a brochure. Like you go to Chase Bank, there's a threefold.
Mhm.
You probably need to say, if you're going to be a serious artist or entrepreneur or vision, these are the main points that you need to do.
I've been building that.
So, like an artist may not have to deal with publishing, but I'm
Mhm.
saying it should be something that say publishing, marketing team, products, merchandise,
Yep. Yep.
social media, and
Yeah, I'll
then.
show you where I'm at with my website when we're done with this. There's some good points on what you're
Well, my
saying for
point
sure.
is, if you put down like, let's just say I made up 20 of those.
Yeah.
If you put this into a rapper, he'll say, "Well, I know about the producing, I know about the copyrights, I know,
Yeah.
but I don't know nothing about the touring thing, or you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying,
Yeah. Yeah.
or the publishing
Well,
or
there's
merchant."
so many moving parts that like most of us it takes us getting into them to even know they exist. You know what I mean?
And it still shifts.
Yeah.
You know, like the streaming thing is not a thing. That
Mhm.
wasn't the thing back in the day. You know.
5 years ago, it wasn't really even the thing. You started getting into live streaming back then, but like it wasn't us doing it unless you were doing it on Facebook. You
So
know.
this is my point as a producer. If you're working with people that's talented and you finish some, it doesn't even have to get whether it's on a thumb drive or whatever. This is a CD.
You don't have to do a full album. You
The
finish a
whole,
song.
but the creative part is done. Now what happens? What happens after you finish the? Okay,
Uh,
me and you make a cake. We finish the cake. Oh, it's beautiful. Where does the cake go?
well, first of all, you got to put some icing on the cake. You got to put it in some kind of packaging.
That's
You
one.
know what I mean?
But even if we do that and it's sitting in
Yeah.
your kitchen,
Yeah,
where's
well,
it going?
it's not. Yeah, yeah. So then you've gotta send it to the radio stations. You've got to
Your
send it to your
neighbors,
neighbors, your friends, your family. You've got to
you
send
got to
it
show the world this is.
everyone that you can come in contact with. You got to give it to them if you have to.
Now, is it best to think about that before we make the cake, or we make the cake and it's sitting in your living room
Sometimes I
for?
feel like if you think about it too much before you make the cake, you'll never make the cake.
So there's a fusion
Yeah.
in there a little bit, but that's great. See, that's man, that's make people think a little bit more than just. I met a rapper yesterday. He's coming over my house tomorrow. He's from out in the south suburbs. In what's that, Harvey?
Mhm.
So out there. He's young. Uh, somebody older said you need to talk to him because he don't have any ASCAP stuff, and he's just buying beats off the internet.
Mhm.
So I talked to him. I said, "What's your goals?" He's like, "I just want to blow up."
Mhm.
So, so do you have a logo? No.
Yeah.
So do you have any producers? Yeah, buying beats off the internet. So if you do a show, can you? Do they
Use
get
it.
paid off for this stuff, or do you have your originals? And I said, do you have your stems, which are the individual sounds
Mhm.
separated? What's
Mhm.
the stem?
No, I don't
So
even know. How old is he?
he's about to go to college.
Yeah. So when I was 18, 19, I didn't know nothing. I knew nothing. You know what I mean?
So he's coming over tomorrow, and I'm gonna show him what an ASCAP check looks like, you know,
Mhm.
and he's never been produced.
Yeah.
All his younger guys that produce, they just make beats.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
don't tell him
They
you're off key.
So yeah, and it's like, okay, here is my finished product. Now you go rap on it, right? Like it's a difference
That's just
when you
different.
have someone like,
Customized.
yeah,
Sing a little
okay,
louder. Give me more.
okay, I like your tone here. Let me find a melody that goes with that. You
Woo!
know?
See, that's yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I
Oh,
dig that.
You've grown a lot, man.
It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute.
Yeah. So,
So
but what do kids like that get that knowledge if it's not in their high school?
yeah.
It's kind of like they got to get out in the grind and hope they find somebody. But see, I'm a rare find because I do play a lot of instruments.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people that dabble in so many different things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, just like you said, there wouldn't be a Kobe if it wasn't a Michael Jordan. So I'm saying Prince. That was my biggest influence because when I was little and I heard Lady Cab Driver and another song he had before that,
That's what
it just
did it for
amazed
you.
me that he was playing all the instruments
Uh,
and singing everything on the credits. And so that was my thing. Like I want to play guitar, bass, keyboards, and that's where it started. And I just kept expounding on it.
So back to talents versus gifts.
Oh yes, talents versus gifts. Now watch this. Talent, you can let's just say, a singing poetry, you can go to school or get in an environment to learn how to develop it and become better, and there are rules to how to evolve it.
Mhm.
A gift is more like you're born with it.
Mhm.
You don't have to see nothing, hear nothing, and you just singing beautiful.
Mhm.
Now, somebody that just naturally sings, they don't. You say, "What key you in?"
Mhm.
I don't know. But when they sing,
It
everybody's
matches
like, "Oh
everything.
my God, this
Yeah.
girl is beautiful." I like
Yeah.
the mic. What do you call it? They be playing the flute and the mic's following with the art. I can go to school, college, or a side class, learn how to do painting and the techniques and the colors.
Mhm.
Then you have somebody else. The mother just gives him some paint and he starts doing stuff, and you're like, "That looks wow."
How I went to school and I can't make what you made, and you don't even
So
know
where does
what the
that come
technique
from?
is.
So
Yeah.
now, if the guy with the gift goes to school, he can really
Yeah.
expand beyond some things.
Honing in your gifts and the
Yes,
talents.
right. Like I would venture to say Kobe Bryant probably naturally was a good shooter, but when he went to the camps
Mm-hmm.
and
Develop the
he
talent for
developed the talent to
those
be
things that maybe they were on the periphery, he wasn't necessarily as gifted at.
right.
Yeah.
So if your podcast allows, I could demonstrate. Like if you just said draw a lady, I can do it
Mm-hmm.
because it's not really like I'm looking in my brain, which is invisible in there, and saying but I could visualize what I'm drawing and then do it. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, you could just start rapping about something, and then something sparks me to start creating something.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really like a class saying we're going to draw flowers.
Mm-hmm.
No, you start singing, and something else comes
I
out of
think
it.
that comes from your musician artist side of things. It's
Yeah.
this spontaneous, like, what's new? How do we create something from nothing?
Yes.
And when you
So it's unlimited potential.
exactly,
I think.
exactly.
I
If you
think.
go in like this is what I'm gonna draw, you've already narrowed it down too far.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's cool,
So
man.
so I'm comfortable in that zone. So I find when I'm recording singers, some women, I'm gonna say female singers, they're more like, I gotta go home and practice this. Da 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 da. But if you get somebody that's been trained in jazz, they're like, it don't matter what key you in.
I've already learned how to do those keys.
If
All
if
you gotta tell me is what the progression is, and I got it.
if the note is too
Right?
high, they're gonna go around it and figure another.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
not even thinking like I'm limited.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
I only sing in key of E flat. My church, I sing in key of E. So I'm not saying it wrong,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm sitting as a producer like, wow, you're living it. So when I do stuff spontaneous, it's kind of intimidating, cause really, if I said, man, Speed Alice, we got 30 minutes to write this rap for Michael Jackson, some people would say, I got it, let's go. You start freestyling
Some
those
people are
stuff,
like,
and
I
then others
can't
like,
do it in 30
I can't
minutes.
do it, man. I can't do that, man. And
Yeah.
so it just shows.
Yeah. Yeah, and well, that's also having, it's like the people who train versus the people who don't. If you've been training, you're more ready. Your potential is there
When the opportunity,
you know what I mean. And if you
uh-huh.
ain't ready, you're fumbling to get your, and it's like you done missed the opportunity. It came and went. So
Mm-hmm.
you gotta be
Mm-hmm.
ready to pounce when the opportunity arises for sure.
I met an actor girl. I'm not gonna say her name. She's very beautiful, but she's always around me. I want to be a singer, a great singer, and an actor. Okay, so this is across the board with other people out there. I bring you to a film director. He said, "Show me some acting. If you're a comedian, show me a joke." You're like, oh no, no. You just missed the
You missed the
opportunity.
opportunity. Yeah,
Now, if you ask Pete Dallas, bust a rap,
yeah.
he probably said it. And it's like, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Spike, paint something, play a song on the
Yeah,
guitar.
you're gonna do it. Yeah,
So if
yeah.
you're an actor, have your actors reel, have your 3 or 4 or 5 skits that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Not the same thing where you're acting like just a nurse or something. Do something where you're acting like mean. You could be the nicest person in the world, but you still can act like a
Yeah,
crazy
yeah.
person. And
Yeah,
that and
I
that's
love I love like Jim Carrey's way of like he would manipulate his face into different moldings and characters. Like you gotta have a way to like to you've got all these different facets of yourself, and you've got to
Yes.
be able to tap into them.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, oh well, on this I need rhythm, so let me tap into my, I'm playing the bass, I'm playing the, and then you're like, well, okay, now I'm a percussionist, and like it's just this
As a
whole,
producer, you're right. Yep.
it's the same thing, except like I've honed the Clint Eastwood, or I'm looking like Eddie Murphy, or you know
Yeah.
what I mean, like,
Yeah.
and you copy the mannerisms, and you learn how that
So,
works.
so if you're going to go meet Tyler Perry or whoever,
Hmm.
be prepared with some of that versus just going around saying, "P.
I want to
Dallas,
do. I want to
she's."
be
It's
successful.
more
I
like
want to
you're
be.
saying it,
Yeah,
but you're not really
yeah. You got
getting
to
it.
do it. You got to work. You
You
got to
know?
put the time in, and that's the challenge. People don't have time. People don't have money, or both, or either.
Yeah.
And so it becomes like
Now,
you
is
have
that
to
fear or
invest.
procrastination? Because some
Both,
people,
both.
if you make 10 calls a day to make something happen, this person over here may only call once every 2 weeks somebody.
Hmm.
And how you going to tell me I'm not grinding?
Mm.
But she's never been pushed to her potential to make
Mm-hmm.
10 calls a day for
Mm-hmm.
something.
Yeah, like you might be grinding in your own mind, but when you step outside of yourself and you see how everybody else is grinding, you might be like, "Oh, I need to step my game up."
Right.
You
So
know?
I felt like New York kind of, that's an advantage and disadvantage if you ever go to New York because they're boom, 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 boom,
Mhm.
boom. Like P.
Mhm.
Dallas, you want some pizza? Okay, go over there right now. It's my man's right over there. Go get
Right
it.
now, yeah,
You know, like I don't know him. No, I
yeah.
don't. I thought you said you was hungry, man. Right now, here. So that's so that
Yeah,
when you bring that kind of mentality back to Chicago, it's
a
it's
go
it's it's, it's
getter.
slower.
Yeah,
They like, I don't know that guy and da da da. I thought you said you want some pizza. Go.
yeah.
So it's kind of, I've lowered my go 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 go
Oh, okay.
because this environment is not
It's
pushing me
not the
there.
same.
But
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
step out of here and go there, it's gonna force you to.
yeah, yeah.
And then when you come back to Mokina,
You're
they
working at this level instead of at this
they still
level.
look at you, same hat, same glasses. Oh, that's P. Dallas, but
Yeah.
your mind is different.
Yeah. Well, that's the same thing about traveling in general. Like, anytime I've gone anywhere new, I come back a new person. You
Yeah,
know what I
but
mean?
your homies in the neighbor, they don't see
They don't
that.
see that. They
They
just
don't
see the
see the
same
growth.
old Pete Atlas. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's interesting.
It
So
is. It
in
is.
other words, you do have to leave your environment sometimes to
Yeah.
grow.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things. Every time I travel, I hear people talk about it. I always talk to people while I'm traveling because I love to hear everyone's different stories and stuff. And so the last time I went to Tennessee by train, I talked to this couple from Ireland, and they've got a real thick accent and you can barely understand them, but like they were cool and they showed me some music from Europe, and like you just learn things from their culture and you absorb, and like that's just going from here to Tennessee. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
meet someone from around the world,
Right.
and so then like when you go to like California and stuff, you've got on the trip, you've got people you run into. When you get out there, you meet all these people, you don't know who they know. It's like I find that a lot of people I know were 1 degree separated from people who were like, oh, I didn't realize that person knew that person, and we're all connected. And like so like down in California, you might be talking to Clint Eastwood's son. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, and you
Right.
don't even know.
That's
To,
true.
to say Clint Eastwood twice, 3 times in a podcast, right? I didn't even talk about him in years.
And then like even say one of your songs off the CD. I've
Hmm.
always learned this globally. A producer in another country, they know what makes the crowd. So in Chicago, house music has a certain sound, maybe certain drum machines.
Hmm.
If you gave your vocal stems to a hot DJ in Johannesburg,
It's gonna sound totally
he's
different.
gonna same tempo, but
Yeah.
the whatever he does,
Yeah.
the crowd go crazy, and then they want to see you over there
Yeah. Yeah.
versus you still here doing.
Yeah, you gotta take them stems and be able to remix and
And he'd be like,
rework them,
he'd be like, man, what you did was hot, but he just his ears is
Hmm.
different. But that just still
Hmm.
goes to show we're connected somehow.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that, man. I love to be able to just absorb the cultures. You know what I
The
mean? Like,
food,
yeah.
the language,
Hmm.
the
From a young age, man. Like, cause my I grew up in a predominantly like Hispanic uh culture, and so like my family's all pretty much white, and
Right.
so like when I would go over to my friends' houses, it was a whole nother world. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like something
Yeah.
I had never experienced it, and like so you would go to like my across the street neighbor, they were Mexican, and like they're doing it one way, and then you go to my other friend, they're Puerto Rican, and they're
Right.
doing it another way, and like
That's beautiful.
and then you go to my other friend, he's Asian, and it's a
Right.
whole different, and so it's really amazing to just like
They need to teach that in grammar school, like a life appreciation.
well, they did in my grammar school. They
We
had like a
didn't.
cultural thing where everyone made some sort of food from their heritage,
Ah.
and then we went around and we ate all the
Uh,
food.
I learned later. After
Yeah.
25, I started
Well,
seeing
see, and I
that.
think that's important to teach kids
Because you
because
be biased.
yeah, like if you ain't never been around someone that's not your skin color, like you don't have any experience with that. So all you know is what people have told you.
That's right. So the proof of that is if you put a whole bunch of babies right here playing with
They're
toys,
all gonna play.
they all are playing with each
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
They ain't saying you're Asian, I'm black, They're
Mhm.
just having fun. But
Yeah.
when we start teaching them,
Mhm.
that's when they're
Mhm. Mhm.
And
So.
then there's a store called Andy's Music Chicago.
Mhm.
This warehouse has thousands of cultural
I've
instruments.
seen your yeah, we got to fly in here.
But it goes to your point. Over here, he has all the congas, all the instruments from Brazil, all the flutes, all the Asian guitars, all the Mexican guitars.
Oh, so it's segregated.
It's like this a huge warehouse, all the gongs, and you look at it like if this was the world, if all the instruments were racist, not racist, but racist,
Yeah.
then you'd say in one way you could say this is beautiful. You're just looking around, but then you start seeing, wait a minute, they're like tribes.
Yeah.
But they're all together.
Yeah.
And you can mix and mingle. Some don't work well together, some do. But in general, that's the world. And that place is sacred. You walk in there, you just like,
Oh man.
wow.
Anytime I go to a music place, it's I mean, I hate to say this because it's almost like sacrilegious, or it is sacrilegious, but it's almost like a church. You know what I mean? When I go into a awesome music place, it's like, oh my god, like I'm home. Like
For me, that's what it was. Like women to get something, they want to go to the store and get happy, buy clothes. Mine was go in that place and just. He's like, as long as you don't break nothing,
you can
spike,
play whatever
you
you
can touch
want.
whatever,
Yeah.
you can videotape. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is heaven.
Yeah.
So you could try on your clothes, but you can't leave with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to your point, we need to get back to that. So when you look at all this stuff that's going on with the police and the racists
Oh my
and
god,
all
it's
that,
crazy.
the whole world is in discord and war, and people are getting tired of the same crap. At the end of the day, if we, this now I'm preaching now. If we are made in the image of God, or if we are the children of God, what do they say God is? God is love. God is law also. If you do certain things, it's a ripple effect. My point is, why are we fighting? Where are we killing? Could this world actually be a place where everybody's kind of happy and do?
Yeah.
Hey, it could be.
I mean, idealistically, it
possible,
should be, right? But who knows, like,
It's-
if they'll ever let it be, because the greed is what really comes down
There
to
you
it.
go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
And it's a shame because there's so much in this world that could be better if it wasn't for greed. Like all of the technologies that have been suppressed because they're too
Greed and control.
Yeah.
Power. Now, I just found out that the Tesla guy. I always wondered why they say always Tesla pops up on the radio.
Elon Musk is a crazy
They
dude.
said this guy has figured out how energy is free.
Oh yeah.
And he's always did stuff that's to put us in different time zones. Like the Star Trek stuff, you could leave and be somewhere else.
So have you heard?
Well, my point is, why isn't that on TV? Because you got to keep paying.
Yeah. It's
but
money, right?
but it already exists. If we're on iPhone 12, it's already an iPhone 17 right now.
Right? Yeah.
We're behind. I'm telling you.
Well, like even iPhone 17, like that might only be in the iPhone company, right? But iPhone 16 might be at the elite level. They might already have that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like certain people are testing that in the real world.
Man.
And so yeah, well, because like I heard recently about this pill-shaped tic tac shaped spacecraft that the military has been or Air Force has been capturing on video
Mm-hmm.
that is able to do maneuvers like nothing they've ever seen. It drops out of the sky, does turns like nothing, and just zips out of focus like faster than anything we've ever known. So either that's alien or another country's technology or someone like Elon Musk testing something and they don't know
Mm-hmm.
or it's their own secret testing. You know what I
Yes.
mean? But there's
Yes.
like a few possibilities of what that is. It's like
It's
one of four, right?
it's
Like
so interesting, man. While we sitting here fighting about racist stuff, somebody's trying to figure out
how to get to Mars.
how to grow food on Mars,
Yeah.
how we're gonna
Literally,
sustain
so
life
this
flying.
same dude, Tesla, so that's Elon Musk owns Tesla, right?
Okay.
Elon Musk owns SpaceX. They're the first company to use reusable rockets. So like NASA, they shoot a rocket to space, most of it comes back down or stays up there and like is garbage. You don't reuse any of it. So it's hundreds of millions of dollars of waste. So he comes along and is reusing and re-landing rockets.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the first American company
Wow.
since NASA stopped with Apollo or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
or Challenger, to refuel the space stations. So
Got you.
his goal is to colonize Mars. Literally, that's his goal to colonize to go to Mars.
This is a music podcast.
It's
Sorry.
it's expanding beyond music now. We done got into a whole nother realm.
Yeah, we gonna put
Uh,
P Dallas music on one of those spaceships.
yeah, you know what I mean? Galactic music. Like we're on a global, you know what I mean? I'm on the next level, bro.
Oh,
I'm trying to leave the solar system, bro.
hey man, we have to have a 5 hour show, boy. So
But
yeah, so look, what have you been up to?
man, I've just been grinding, man. Just like the podcast has kind of been growing, and piece by piece, I've been trying to make it better, and
Piece by piece.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Exactly. So
yeah,
so
nice.
so all of that. I got a new music video that's about ready to release.
All
We're,
right.
we're a couple of episodes behind right now from
Okay,
from what I'm going to be releasing. So it might be about a month or so before I get to release this podcast.
we'll be waiting.
But when I release it, it will have some things that you do, but I'll throw in the premiere of that music video. It's Boom Bopin' from our album Find My Way, and it's the first song from
Yeah.
the album. So
Boom
I
bop.
basically just took footage that so when my dad, he had a shop in Berwyn and he basically got out of there, and when he was leaving, I was helping him pack stuff up, and on off time where he'd be having to do a job and I didn't have anything to do and I was sitting
Mhm.
around, I started recording. And I was like, I wonder if I could just like boom boom bop in that
Right.
and not have any music and like it go with the music, and like it worked. Like
It
I
worked.
have the
Okay.
internal tempo like pretty mapped out. And so I just recorded a bunch of scenes, and so it's dirty,
See,
it's
that's that
gritty, it's in a shop. You know what I
artsy
mean?
stuff in like spontaneous,
Yeah,
but it
yeah,
worked
yeah,
out.
yeah. And so I threw all that together, got a few extra clips to put in there, and so it's about wrapped up, and so I'll throw that in with this
Yeah.
podcast since it's relevant to
Look,
us.
you all, his podcast. The first time I was on it a couple years
I
ago.
believe you were my first.
I was on his couch,
Yep.
and he probably had one microphone.
One microphone.
Look, he's stepping it.
One
Got
camera.
man, boy.
We getting there, man. We getting there. It's growing. I'm just thankful for the opportunity, man. Really, like
Yeah.
it's like we have these dreams for so long. I talk about this to people. Like we have these dreams of where we're gonna be as kids or like as young adults, right? And then like life throws you some
Curves.
curveballs.
Oh
You
my
know what I
God.
mean? Like, and so when you finally get to do some of the things that you had been dreaming about forever, it's like it. Like, all right, so where is success for you, right? Like, is success
It's
like
changed.
$1 million, or is success
Yeah.
being able to do your dream?
That's what has changed with me. I told my son the other day. I have a son in Brooklyn. He's 17. I told him, I just want you to know that my goals are, I would love to have a TV show where I travel the world showing the unification of people through food, because I like food, just like an Anthony Bourdain show.
Mhm.
But I also want to invest in something. I invested in a 750 Honda motorcycle cruiser, but that wasn't like real estate. So that was my choice. I really don't regret it. But if I had put that 10,000 into some property, I might be.
Oh.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. But no, chasing the money, it's amazing. You keep seeing, like, I see Mike Tyson. You see just certain celebrities. They get it and they're still not happy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to call a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
names. You all know.
Yeah.
But my point is, if you're doing what you love, it's like this hell becomes heaven
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
because if you have a job that sustains you, that's cool. You know. The other thing I just found out, I'm working. This is man. Listen to what I'm saying. If your rent and your car note and your groceries and your phone bill, if you tally it all that up and it's $2,500 or $3,000 or $1,500, if you could figure out a way to hit that number with your merchandise or your music or something, then you're free.
Mm-hmm.
Once you have something making that for
Mm-hmm.
you,
Mm-hmm.
then
All that
you're
takes time to build, though, right? And you've got to put in the work.
and somebody to tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Because
then
when you go into it, you're like, I'm gonna make music. I'm just making music, and they're like, but what about your logo? What about the merch? What about
right.
what about your royalty, your professional rights organization? What?
So watch this. If you had two or three flat buildings,
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't have any problem
No,
getting
you
the
rent out
computer,
all three
whatever,
floors,
even hiring some people to do your stuff. But
Mhm.
if you don't have that, then
I
you're
man,
you're
I wish I
grinding.
knew this going in. I wish I knew this going in, and I would have had so much less headache. And that's where some of me and my exes would butt heads. Is like I have this absorbent dream of like just so much bigger than most people have,
Right.
and so I'm starting with like nothing, and they're like, you need to work. Like you're not gonna be able to get this dream that you have if you ain't got some kind of income. And I'm like, but I can't make the music if I'm working all the time. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
That's a tough one. So partnering with people or being open to things, you got to pay attention. I do believe if you pray, that energy goes out, it gathers, and it comes back to you. So
Mm-hmm.
if you praying negative or doing, it goes out, gathers negative energy, and comes right back to the person that sent it. So I'm saying to you,
Be positive.
be positive.
Absolutely.
Uh, if he says, I want to build a college, if you say, I want to build a music college, you ain't got no $50 billion. But if you keep, like, that's my, I'm,
I'm
Lord
gonna
God,
learn how to invest. I'm gonna learn how to get funding. And you step by step
step
work
by
towards
step,
it.
how do you eat an elephant? Bite by bite.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you thinking that, you start seeing people that are into property or
Mm-hmm.
and it'll start
You start getting into these circles. You start talking to these people. You start learning things you
right.
didn't know.
So if you're into cars or you're into golf, if you
Mm-hmm.
think about it all the time, you start meeting magazines, radio, you start tuning into
And
that.
we're in a time where you can start by looking
Internet.
online. You
Yes.
know what I mean? Like back in
Yes.
the day, you had to know somebody. You had to learn something in a
Remember
different way.
MapQuest?
Yeah, yeah.
Before MapQuest.
Find your way to my house before
You have to
MapQuest.
print it out. Okay.
I remember when I moved out here, I had a friend try to drop me off, and I didn't know how to get out here really yet because
Oh
I had just moved
man.
out here. It's like you don't know where you live, bro.
I remember that stuff, man. Yeah. Now this is amazing technology. This is another point too. This phone is not connected to anything. I could put it here and call my boy in Johannesburg and say, "What's up, man? What you doing?" Okay, whether it's hitting the thing in space or not, my point is, I grew up when we had the.
Yeah.
Then it went to the little
Rotary,
the
and
beepers.
then you had the
then
little
big
dialing,
phone,
the beepers.
then
Yeah.
the big one, the
Yeah.
drug dealers.
So I didn't never have the big brick one, but I had
But-
the pager.
But not.
Yeah.
But check this out. This is not the iPhone. This is a whatever you call it, the Samsung. But I'm saying they already on technology beyond this.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Elon Musk.
this is my point. Whatever they're discovering, it's already been here since the dinosaurs.
Oh wow.
The energy, whatever
Yeah,
we're
yeah, yeah.
discovering.
We're tapping into something that's
but
always
it's
been here.
always been here.
Well, that's kind of like the internet, right? The internet's probably always been here in concept, and then like you connect some wires to some machines, and suddenly you've got this place again. Like, how many times over history have we gotten to this point? You know what I mean? That's what I think. Like if there was another ice age, it would just grind all of this equipment, all these houses, everything to a mush,
Right.
and nothing would survive hardly, right? Except for maybe something that was in a
It's
cave.
just the natural elements.
You know, and then nobody knows if who what was road. What road was what a road that you drove on?
Right.
Like, I don't even know what that is because there aren't any of those anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so like
Interesting.
that's 1,000 years from now if we survived, right? And
Right.
after an ice age melts, like we're just thawing out from the last one.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like we're finding things buried underneath
Yeah,
it, and
the plates of the earth shift, and then
Mhm.
countries, they didn't have this, so we don't have records
Exactly.
of all that stuff.
Exactly.
They find little pots and nails, and
What
it's very
does survive? It's interesting. Like, how far were the Egyptians?
yeah.
You know what I mean with the pyramids, like moving stones that even by today's equipment standards would be difficult.
Right.
Like, how did they do that?
Nobody's building pyramids today.
No,
But
like
we
you
got all
would
this.
think you would think with all this equipment, someone would be like, you know what? I'm gonna recreate.
Can
One
you
of
do
these
it?
billionaires would be like, I'm gonna recreate, and nobody's done it. The closest thing would be like the that I know of is in Memphis. They got that Bass Pro Shop pyramid.
Okay. Okay.
You know, and it's this big old pyramid that like inside it's a bass shop. They've got boats inside the building,
Man.
in water, floating in the water. They got fish in the water. Like it's
Right.
crazy, but like that's not
Now,
anything
now,
like
now
a
you're
real
talking
pyramid.
about good stuff. Now I'm sharing. This is your podcast. I'm just saying. Some people have showed me some videos of their experimenting with like lightning bugs glow,
Uh huh.
and certain fish deep down they glow.
They glow. Yeah.
They're trying to figure out something to put in us that it's almost like if you took the vaccine, you can do something, and it's like
Oh.
now we know he's got it.
He's
like
clean or he's
that's,
not.
That's scary.
It's scary because
but
once they use that technology, they're not giving it up.
but it's not on the news.
Mm-mm.
But it is on some of the internet stuff. Some of the internet stuff is gossip.
Yeah.
But some of it.
So something that's real. Elon
Right.
Musk is coming up with this thing called Neuralink, and
See?
it's a thing that goes in your neck. And he's
Mhm.
talking about within the next 5 years it being in people.
Okay.
It's a rechargeable device that basically hooks up to your brain,
Right.
and he's talking about people who can't walk will be able to walk
So
again.
what do you
like
call it?
somehow
Centers.
sends to different areas
That
of your body, make people who
technology
can't.
is there.
Yeah.
I have an older guy. I'm not gonna say his name, Doctor Claude something. He has what do you call it? Thyroids, the things that pop out of your when you is that thyroid?
No.
What do you got when it comes out of your flesh or your stomach?
Cysts or
You can push it back in.
hernias.
Hernias.
Yeah.
Something that's the shape of a credit card. He puts it there, and the
The split in the myofascial
whatever's
seals or
in the
whatever.
card. I don't know what you call it. Quantum, whatever the energy or
I have not heard anything
whatever
about
it
this card.
is. It stopped his pain for 5 days. Then he lost it somehow mowing the lawn. But my point is the technology.
Oh, it's a card that he
It's like
externally.
yes.
Wow.
And what it aligns or collab. What you say when you like when we do with electronic stuff, you collect
You collect the
to make everything back.
oh
That's what it does to your body. You remember the stuff on the what was the superhero the one that was out last summer with the black guy, the Panther.
Black Panther.
Remember they was doing the stuff they were doing this in other movies where they were doing the internet stuff on the in
Oh
air.
yeah. Like Iron Man too did that, right?
Even in the dinosaur one where they were you know what I'm saying? They,
the new Jurassic World, they got to like throw up screens.
but
or
that
something.
stuff is there.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the machines that will realign your energies, they exist.
And people don't. Major corporations don't want the public to get a wind of them because the pharmaceutical industries are so incredibly big that if you were to take away the pills, these massive companies are going under, and they don't want to give up their yachts. You know what I mean? So I mean that's really the price. It's the greed again. It's the greed because we could have had cars that drove on water in the 50s. You know what I mean? We could have. I
met a guy from the McCormick. He's a techie guy. He said the technology is there for cars that fly.
Yeah.
He said, but we're not ready to put that on the public
No,
yet.
the infrastructure isn't there. Think about like you got someone flying over your house and their car breaks and it falls through your roof.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So that's
Like,
a whole other set of laws and
yeah, yeah,
insurance.
yeah, yeah.
But his point was the engines from the beginning of cars has not changed much
Hmm.
to today's Testarosas, and there's slight changes, but not a whole new technology.
Mm-hmm.
You
They've
got those
honed in.
helicopters that can blow hydro
Oh
things.
yeah,
And they
that's
can,
crazy.
you know what I'm saying? And the
Yeah.
spaceship thing you was talking
Yeah,
about.
that's
So
nutty
you know
too.
what I'm
Because
saying?
who even knows what that is? That's on the forefront of the radar of we don't even know what that is. Who does
You
it?
be in
Or
another time
yeah, yeah.
zone.
I mean, it could literally because it's going like thousands of miles in seconds. I mean, it's
Right.
crazy.
Right.
And so, is that like an Elon Musk figure that has all this money and knowledge, and they're testing something that the U.S. government doesn't know about, or is it the U.S. government? Is it aliens? Like, who knows at this point? Like, it is with the way that the world's going right now. I
It's
would not
going
be
fast,
surprised if it's
yeah.
one of the other. Like it could be aliens, and I'd be like, "Yep, that makes sense." It could be it could
Man,
be Elon Musk, and I'd be like,
look,
"That makes sense."
look, the news. I don't know when your podcast ended, but we gonna get in trouble in a minute. Look, man, this one lady sent me a video of humans that were jumping picnic tables like baboons, but they were crossing these genes. Now I've never seen that. You're not gonna see it on
No, you're
TV.
not gonna see
I
that
don't
on
know
TV.
how they got the footage, but they weren't naked. It was like looking at you. You look normal,
But I'm like,
but you when you stand up, you go down on your hands, and then you start running
wow.
like a baboon, and you jump over a whole picnic table like you're in a
You have you ever had dreams like
right.
that?
But but this was real.
No, I know, I know, I know. No, it's crazy what they're doing because they're splicing all this crazy stuff.
They're-
Who knows what
but
that's
we
gonna make?
probably came from a lot of this
Oh
stuff in the
yeah,
past, so it's
yeah.
in us. But it's
Some people think that with like the Bible, with like it's like a thing of like okay, Adam and Eve, they were this genetically modified thing that came from like maybe monkeys, right?
right.
And so like maybe the aliens came down and bred with us, bred and made them,
Angels or something.
and we don't have any contact with them because they're just these superior beings that they had the technology to make monkeys into humans when we didn't even have sticks yet.
See,
You know,
see. Yeah, you can believe Adam and Eve didn't have a baseball cap on and a hoodie and a jacket. So it's very
unless God
interesting.
gave it to them, unless God was like, "Hey, you're gonna need some clothes. Here's your, But in the Bible, it's like a leaf. You know what I mean? And so it's like it's not, it's such a crazy interpretation through thousands of years. No one knows what it really was. And so
Well,
any
yeah.
religion that tells me your religion is wrong, I'm like, oh, you guys don't know what you're talking about, because
I
you can't just be like, this is what it is. You don't know. You know what I mean?
so it goes back to religion versus spiritualism.
Uh-huh.
But they all come from the different branches.
They all came from
all
it,
go to
and
one
I
thing,
see the
so.
similarities in all of it. It's like
They
if
are
you
similar.
really just look at
Get to
what's
the
the
core.
same, what is
Yes.
it talking about?
Yeah.
And I think so many people get caught up in the politics and in the ins and outs of the rules
Even
to
if it's
remember.
literally true or it's metaphorical using characters, or Zeus slept with such and such, or Shango was with Jamaya,
And this was a metaphor for this.
but it's a metaphor for principles of faith, or how to have just those, what do you call it, principalities. You can't see principalities. Principalities is like, can you see hate?
Mm.
I could walk past 3P Dallases and you could say that middle one, there's something with him.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say anything, you just felt it, but that's energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so all I'm saying is,
That's
when
real.
when you start talking about energy,
Yeah.
that had nothing to do with Jesus. When I just saw 3P Dallases and the one in the middle seemed like he got something that's going on with him. That had nothing to do with Jesus.
But it also had nothing to do with Muhammad, or it had nothing to do with any of these other
But
figures.
something in me.
There is something internal in a spiritual, in the core of our beings that says
Yep. So there it is. See, that's
Yeah.
what they don't teach us in.
they don't, and they don't focus enough on that side of things. They focus on
That's
you're
tapping into the God in you, but you get slammed if you say I'm God.
not. Mhm.
But we're made from the stars, all that
We're
stuff.
all stardust, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
there's some kind of spirit. If you died right now and fell over, your body would be there, but some left you.
Mm-hmm.
Something left you.
And what happens there? You know what I mean? And it's like nobody knows until you die. And people are like, oh, I saw the light. You know what I mean? But like you actually saw a flood of chemicals that did something crazy. Like what happens after that? You know what I mean?
Boy.
Is it black? Is it is? And I had this conversation the other day. I think of it like okay, heaven and hell, right?
Right.
Like what about reincarnation? If you have life reincarnation, right, and you do good, the next life you come back in a better position,
I
right?
would agree.
And
Yeah.
then if you do bad, the next
You
life you
got to
come
pay
back in a
it.
worse position,
Mm-hmm.
right? Heaven and hell would be the same thing. The next you rise or
And
you
it
go
probably could just
lower.
keep going forever,
And
eternity.
exactly. And if this was like a simulation and we were just living lives over and over again, it's very much heaven and hell. Like if you do crappy, you're gonna get a worse life.
So it goes back to how you're controlling this thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Me and you both, look, this show, I don't know where it's going to end, but this is good. If
Yeah.
me and you were both going through a bad neighborhood driving in a car, you could easily be like, this is a effed up place, man. My brother got shot here. Look at the streets, the trash, the people. Oh, look, the crackhead over there, the prostitute over there. They're
Mm-hmm.
shooting. The police don't come over here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm next to you, and I'm saying, man, I see me building a Starbucks over here. I could get those 5 best up houses and flip them. And in 5 years, this neighborhood's gonna change. I'm gonna put a playground right there.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking at, we're doing the same place,
Mm-hmm.
seeing two different things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who's right or wrong? You're technically right. You're seeing hell.
I'm seeing
I'm
what's there,
visualizing.
but you are seeing what could be there, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of positivity versus negativity, right?
Right.
Like when you were like, okay, the world stopped right now. We ain't going outside. It's like, yeah, but you also have some time to regroup.
You can get
And
creative.
get your mental ducks in a row and get ready for when we go back. And
Yes.
it's like you could sit here and just fume. I can't go out. No, I can't. And I'm just watching TV and I'm drinking
And fears,
or,
right, all
and
that.
watching the news and just getting in
Yep.
this hate. And then or you can be like, you know what? I'm gonna go for a run. I'm gonna get some sunshine. I'm gonna eat some healthy. I'm gonna eat a salad. You know what I mean?
You own it. That's a choice, though.
It's that choice, and it all comes back to you. What are you going to do? Because
See, that's why we need your show, man. That's beautiful. That's a good way to end the show, man.
I appreciate you coming out, man. Is there anything else you want to talk to people about?
No, support my man P Dallas.
Appreciate
I mean,
that.
he's steady evolving. Hopefully, he'll let me do some remixes on one or two of his or his new stuff.
Yeah.
As I evolve.
Mm-hmm.
At first in my life, I think I was comparing myself, trying to compete with the higher ups.
Mm-hmm.
But at a certain point, it's like, do what you love.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can do that, you start finding that is heaven. It doesn't have to be hell if you're doing what you love. Now, if you're doing what your mom tell you to do, it took me a long time to realize that I can't live for her or what my brother think I should be. I should be the manager of Walgreens, Walmart. That's not where my heart is at. I could do it.
But I'm not going to be happy.
I'm not going to be happy.
Yeah.
So I do like driving. So Uber has actually been a blessing.
That's awesome.
I've always liked driving, learning new suburbs, seeing new things. Because I'm not just driving, picking up people. I'm looking at art. I'm finding the graffiti that people never see.
Yeah.
I'm talking about street art behind buildings.
That is beautiful stuff.
I can tell you right now, 10 places to find hip hop graffiti. Whether it's under a
What's
bridge
the best
or
place you've seen?
It's one on 18th and like Troop.
Okay.
There's a guy with a boom box, a reggae dude with a microphone,
Yeah.
and it's some other stuff on Milwaukee. There's a guy with a turntable. He's standing like this with the hat on.
Okay.
But
So-
they could be used for video. I should be posting like this is over here.
Yeah. You know what you should be doing is you should be collecting little bits of video when you can,
Put 'em-
and
yeah.
throw them to a music video at one point. You know what I mean? Like have them be the clips that are like in between you doing something.
There's a fire station that was closed on Ogden and something, California. There's nothing but hip hop dudes with microphones all over the building.
Awesome.
But they gutted it out and made it a place to feed the community.
Okay.
So all those guys that get out of prison,
Okay.
they don't have a job. They can go there and eat breakfast and lunch.
Nice.
And
Nice.
he's showing some of them, they've been in jail so long, they don't know proper etiquette.
Yeah.
So
you
But
have
you
to
would
like
never know just passing it.
you have to reintroduce them into regular society. And somebody has to be the one to be like, hey, that I know that that's how you had to do it there,
Right.
but in this culture we don't do it like that. This is how we do it to where people are gonna understand you. You know what I mean? And
And
like,
that guy is not being interviewed. He's a good,
mm-hmm,
nice guy. He's a chef. His heart said something must have happened to him, but
mm-hmm.
he's giving back. And he saw me. I was looking at the graffiti out of my car. He's probably like, "What's this dude doing?" And he said, "Hey, you want to come in?" And then I learned about the whole place. You know what I'm
Nice,
saying?
nice.
But he's not on, none of the TV
Yeah,
shows. But
yeah.
we have some beautiful people. Uh, there's a lady named Fanny Brown.
Okay,
Sister Karima Muhammad. She's James Brown's sister.
okay.
Okay. I went to her mansion spot in Joliet. It caught on fire, so it's not there now. But she said these guys were shooting and fighting each other in the neighborhood. She said, "I'm gonna feed you all. Y'all gonna stop this killing. Y'all gonna stop shooting. If y'all stop that, I will feed you, and you can shoot hoops all day in my big backyard." I saw it.
Wow.
That's not on the news.
Nope, it's
They
just
don't even know,
fear.
but I'm
It's
saying,
just hate.
but she came from the hood, so
Yeah,
she's like,
yeah.
she's not scared to fight these
Well,
kids.
and I hear that over and over again. Like, oh, they talk about like, oh, fixing up the neighborhoods, and it's like you can't have some like white investment banker come in and try to fix up that type of neighborhood because they're not going to connect with that guy. They need somebody who's been from that neighborhood, who's made it out of that neighborhood.
Yeah,
They can come back and be like, this is how I did it. Let me
yeah,
give you a hand and help you.
yeah.
And I think that's important on all aspects for everybody, even for white people. And but like there was a hood that you came from that you need to extend a hand and help the next generation.
Man.
And I think a lot of people get too caught up in themselves and don't help other people.
So look, I would like to close it with this. There are a lot of jazz musicians, not just jazz, but jazz musicians that I personally know that are dying. They are transitioning to heaven or wherever. But my point is, there's no history of them. They're not on the internet. They're not on Facebook. They're not on LinkedIn. They're not in magazines. They're never going to be on YouTube. And I'm saying, I personally feel something in me to tell others as well as me why they're alive. Get some kind of interview with them, etc. One of
Mm-hmm.
my friends that just died, his name was Philemon Najib, and another guy. They worked at the museums of science and industry or whatever. They said there's stuff behind there that they never put out.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know if it's good or bad or hidden,
yeah.
but what they saw working there for 10, 20 years was never put in display.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's dead.
Wow.
So we'll never know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think he would have wanted to share it. I don't know if that's something he would have got killed over, but my point is, why aren't we seeing everything? You look at Miles Davis or something. You can get on a cruise. There'll be something showing him in blue and white. The Seraphim one when they were grinding, like
Mm-hmm.
what you're doing now. They're capturing it.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you blow up later, there's the history shown.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Where's P. Dallas history?
Yeah, I mean,
It's starting now. I'm
it's
saying you capture
starting
this.
because we grew up in this time. We were active in this time. We've been growing our history, right?
Yeah,
Where those people they came from another time where it wasn't documented the same way. And
yeah.
so by the time this came along, they were already like getting ready to retire and get out of this stuff and they're just
And
gold mines of information that
yes. And look, the younger generation, whether they're rappers, musicians, they're not, today's technology is not the ones that sacrifice all their life to play the sax or the guitar, the Wes Montgomery, to become the best at
mhm
their craft.
mhm
They're not looking for the little Waynes. They're
mhm
not looking for the young producers with the trap drums. And the trap drums, the young guys, they're not looking for people that have vested their life to be super cold on an instrument.
and that's a damn
It's a
shame.
void.
You know what's crazy is that the ones that you hear, like I listen to this dude, Big Crit, and he's got a lot of different weird instrumentation and stuff on his music. It seems like the ones that do outside the box, that do the deeper songs, that do the stuff that has all that great kind of influence, they don't get picked up. You know what I mean?
So
Like it's classic music, people love it, but the mainstream for some reason won't grab a hold.
right, which is very interesting. So like Target will market pies and quilts, but it's not what your grandma would have made.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma, everybody in the family said, "Could you make me a quilt?" It's no two of them look the same.
Mm-hmm.
Even the pies, the crusts, all of that is just off, but it's not the same
Mm-hmm.
in the
Mm-hmm.
fast
Yeah.
copy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with the music, I'm just gonna use rap as example. You got 32 derivatives of Drake,
Mm-hmm.
but here comes one that sounds
There's only
totally
one
different.
BB King. You know
That's
what
what
I
I'm
mean?
saying.
There's only one Gary Clark
There's one
Jr.
Macy
You know what I
Gray, only
mean?
one Sade,
Yeah.
only one Prince.
Yeah.
But you got 1,000 clones.
Freaking million little this, little that. You know what I mean? Like,
That's what I'm saying. So at some point, you either chase what they saying is hot and you're not original,
or you just
or
grind in your own lane and make it hot.
now
Right?
if you're young and don't have no money and they say copy to be similar to somebody else, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna take it,
Mm-hmm.
and you could care less. When
Yeah.
you die, they own all of your publishing and all that other
Mm.
stuff. Whereas if you were coached good, you might say, I can open up a community center or a grocery store or something. It's amazing with all that money from what we say, whether it's rappers or whatever. Where's our own libraries? Where's our own grocery stores? Where's our own? I don't know.
I don't know either, man. It's like,
Pool the money, you know.
yeah, yeah. Pool.
From my perspective, where's a black skyscraper in Chicago?
Yeah.
One. So the world could say,
yeah, I don't know.
wow, they pulled
The
their money
crazy
together.
thing about all of that is I don't know who owns any.
Not
of
saying
that
it got to
stuff.
be black, but
What
that's
what
my
I
point.
think a lot of times it's like other countries, you know, groups of other people. You know what I mean? That's what's so crazy about this time. like other countries own a lot of our national parks already. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so like as our debt builds, other countries buy more and more of our stuff. Well, when do we not own America anymore?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now you sound like Trump, but I get you. I get you.
Well, like when
No,
when
they
is this
said-
not your home anymore? When
I
is
got
this
you.
when is this place owned by China? When is this place? You know what I mean?
It's happening now.
Like
yeah.
we're already how much in debt,
right.
and it's like we're so dependent on these other countries.
See, that don't be on the news.
Yeah, no.
But what you saying is true.
So it's a wild, like, I don't know, man. That's why this podcast is becoming more than just music. I love just doing music, but I feel like there's a conversation that needs to be had that isn't being had enough.
I agree.
And so I'm getting into these conversations with other people. Again, man, I appreciate you so much for coming out and being a two-time guest on the PeaceSum podcast.
Yeah.
We're going to have a little bit extra at the end, so stay tuned, man. But appreciate you watching all the way through.
And look, check for me on Facebook. I that's my land, because I don't like everything fast like Instagram.
Mhm.
Facebook, I paint. I introduce artists that come to my basement or wherever I'm recording, and I put certain things on YouTube. I'm starting to make the better quality things be production value be on YouTube. But if you check Facebook, Spike Rebel or Carnell Newbill, you can see what I'm doing. And I am just showing the world what I love. I'm not right now. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm just saying this is who I am. But that's gonna change.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna have this $3,000 paintings, man, in a minute. But I got you on love.
All right, man. Thank you for tuning in. This Piece of Music podcast. Peace.
Yes.
Bopping that boom in the boom bopping and a boom bopping that boom in the boom bopping and a boom bopping that boom in the boom bopping and a boom bopping that boom in the boom bopping and a that boom bopping. You know there ain't no stopping when I get the party hopping. I'm bringing it from the top, and you know I keep it rocking, heads and feet bopping. Every time I get the dropping, it come with the beat knocking. That boom bopping, you know there ain't no stopping when I get the party hopping. I'm bringing it from the top, and you know I keep it rocking, heads and feet bopping. Every time I get the dropping, it come with the beat knocking. Come on, we keep it live and got frequency to dial in. Crowd hooting and howling, peeps juking and jiving. Loud where you sounding if you don't feel the album. From here to shouting, hoping you seek asylum. Dealing with the chosen and gross, in the rhythm of the flows, and dealing with the shy you can't get frozen. Do you really wanna go in? In the land where the cold can hit your face like Hogan. What you expect from Windy City's the slogan. Acrobatic, charismatic, when you hear it, had to rap it. Eat and sleep with a beat and a freak real graphic. Then break this back at it. Rockin' and rollin' from the top and it's golden. Keep the dreams unfolding with lyrics from the soul and the mic that I'm holding. Come on, that boom boppin', you know that ain't no stopping. When I get the party hoppin', I'm bringing it from the top, and you know I keep it rockin'. Heads and feet boppin', every time I get the droppin', it come with the beat knockin'. Haha, that boom boppin', you know that ain't no stopping. When I get the party hoppin', I'm bringing it from the top, and you know I keep it rockin'. Heads and feet boppin', every time I get the droppin', it come with the beat knockin'. Come on, they call me P. Dallas, I spit what you like, and I'll be here rocking it for you all night. I'm a lyrical MC and I'm about consciousness, but I still gotta see it moving and getting down to this. Looking for balance and a way to express my talents. Keeping up with P to the T can certainly be a challenge. An anomaly, be gone with your hypocrisy. So thankful that I can see a light bright enough for you and me. Gotta stay focused when you feel hopeless. Faith ain't no hocus pocus. If you ain't noticed, open your eyes and it'll be on the horizon. We're going out riding, come on everybody pile in. Let's go see Lau in the BMX crowd. I saw him getting wild, flipping crazy with style. Then it's off to a show, flow like you never had before. We gotta get out on the road, come on, let's go. That boom boppin', you know that ain't no stopping. When I get the party hoppin', I'm bringing it from the top, and you know I keep it rockin'. Heads and feet boppin', every time I get the droppin', it come with the beat knockin'. Haha, that boom boppin', you know that ain't no stopping. When I get the party hoppin', I'm bringing it from the top, and you know I keep it rockin'. Heads and feet boppin', every time I get the droppin', it come with the beat knockin'. Come on, that boom boppin', that boom and the boom boppin', and a boom boom boppin', that boom and the boom boppin', and a boom boom boppin', that boom and the boom boppin', and a boom boom boppin', that boom and the boom boppin', and a that boom boppin', you know that ain't no stopping. When I get the party hoppin', I'm bringing it from the top, and you know I keep it rockin'. Heads and feet boppin', every time I get the droppin', it come with the beat knockin'. Come on, I'm supersonic, harmonic, and just a little hypnotic. The way I jot it or nod it might make you a little psychotic, a little exotic, melodic, mixed with my lyrical tonic. Keep up like Tails and Sonic, that's not folks with electronics. Complete with rhythm and precision, I envision, come take a listen. Inspecting the vision, suspicion, next become your mission. Creating something from nothing to get y'all bouncing and bumping. On the way up, now I see all of y'all jumping. Come on, been out here working, staying on my grind. Now finally I shine, cause I'm in my prime. Don't try to understand, just believe what's in your mind. Follow the plan, close your eyes like you were blind. Don't see the signs, research behind the signs. Not just spirits, stay too scared to come near it. From within my spirit, the lyric, you can feel it and hear it. From within my spirit, the lyric, you can feel it and hear it. Only really wanna stop them, cause you're mad you can't top them. But I keep it knocking, bopping with hip hopping that I'm dropping. So the haters are conflicted, don't wanna but love's addicted. A battle between the soul and the ego. To be at war with your own mind, take a peek and you will find. Looking down the barrel of a chrome nine. Your mind's a weapon or a tool. Learn yourself, don't be a fool. You can destroy your create, you can love it, you can hate. I just choose to love.